asked to talk about this topic because I've been wanting to bring it up, and I didn't know exactly how to present it as something to talk about. And when you asked for it, I said, "Whoa! I hope I didn't influence you in some dark way and say communism. Ask for this." But I'm very happy that you talked about this because I think it's something that is not only relevant now because of what I mean. We are using some modern, what seems to be a modern term, conspiracy, as though the world has never been infected with these kinds of things before. It's just now it is so obvious and so evident that there are so many divergent views about reality that we all seems to be living at the same time in this and sometime in the same space, in the same world. So and this is a question that has been asked many times. You can say that the reason that there are so many divergent, so many different, not necessarily divergent, but so many different presentations of what is truth is because it is indeed somehow connected to a search for truth. And we have this freedom that we feel of being able to arrive at it. And that's why we have all these different versions, or you could say, of truth. So there's that's the thing that we have to acknowledge, that there is some sincerity somewhere. Perhaps the sincerity was lost, like became faded, and and there was just a memory of the sincerity, and the person continued along that line and completely lost the sincerity of the search and ended up with, okay, this is it. Um, so tonight is going to be, I'm going to be really talking about, there's an actual discourse of the Buddha called the Kanki Sutra. You can find that out. It's been compiled in a book by what's his name? Well, it's called In the Buddha's Words. You can find that, but it's only this thick. Okay, and it's a compilation of so many different sutras, and and this one is just sutras that he picks from here and there that he likes, and because he finds them, they have some sort of what you call a sequence to them. So he presents them that way. And in among the sutras that he chose is called the Kanki Sutra. The Kanki Sutra is basically the Buddha giving giving advice to someone. How do you discern truth? And we all, not all of us, but I'm sure many of us are somewhat familiar with. There are different places where the Buddha has given advice how you discern whether should trust something or not. And this one is specifically has some very elaborate steps. We've heard about, no, don't trust something as truth just because, and you've heard, just because the teacher is respected, is famous, just because it came from tradition, just because it's written somewhere, just because, so many different things where and it seems to be saying that trust only your gut, but that is not really the conclusion that we're supposed to draw from that. It's not trust only your gut. The thing is, you have to train your gut to be able to connect to truth first of all, because we've all have had these experiences where it felt like it was in something gut thing, and then we've followed it, and then it was not fruitful. Okay, so how do we even arrive at really what you might call the gut? But the thing is, we should arrive at something that is embodied, and as a matter of fact, in the sutra, the Buddha says that is realized in the body, which is very interesting. The Buddha didn't say that it is realized in the mind. He says that is realized in the body. The body will tell you whether you've arrived at truth or not. But there's a certain path that we have to take in order to finally arrive at, now the body knows it. Okay. So that's what we will talk about mainly. It is the sutra, the Kanki Sutra. And I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to go to it every once in a while. Okay. All right. So before we do that, let's do our meditation where we connect. with intention, why we are here, what are we doing. And just like the Buddha saying the body knows the truth, the body knows what is meditation. So we don't need to impose on the body some notion of what meditation is supposed to be, but rather listen to it. Just hold the intention. I want to meditate. And as you sincerely hold on to that intention, now connect with the body's response. That intelligence within the body will guide. It will tell us whether we need to make adjustments or not. And we are seeking for comfort and stability in the body, in the posture. The comfort and the stability are the signs that the body is ready and will be conducive to entering that state. So allow that intelligence to guide you to make whatever little adjustments here and there in the legs, making sure the torso is upright but not uptight. The shoulders are relaxed. The hands are in such a position that they immediately, when your mind goes to them accidentally or deliberately, they remind you that you are meditating. So whatever that posture for you may be for the hands, they are relaxed. Head and neck are centered, so there is no conscious effort in holding them in place. Mouth, teeth, tongue are resting in their natural places. Even now, as you're simply just scanning the posture, making sure your posture is conducive to meditation, you begin to touch the meditative state already. You begin to have signs that you're touching it. And as soon as you notice any sign, no matter how slight, go towards it and rejoice. Welcome it. And there's a sense going into deeper into that space. Try to go into that flow. So the muscles of the face are relaxed. The muscles in the forehead are relaxed. And your eyes are resting softly. Whatever for you is resting for the eyes. Completely closed or slightly open or looking straight ahead. However you have that sense of the eyes resting, you adopt that. It connects you just like the hands and the meditative experience. So the eye should connect you to the meditative experience. Anywhere your awareness goes in the body, you should feel that that posture, that part of the body is connecting you to the meditative experience. And once you have a sense of conviction, a measure of conviction in the readiness of the body, in the posture, now we make a conscious commitment of entering into that space, sort of like we are tasting, but we're not fully in yet. That is enticing us. Now let us completely enter, committing ourselves to enter with a nice deep breath. So gently, fully through the nose, breathe in. You can hold for a second or two if you wish, and as you let go through the mouth, completely release. And as you release, let go, let go, let go, let go, let go in the mind, let go in the body, let go physically, let go. Cruise momentum, taking you deeper and deeper into that. It's felt experience that you're into meditation. Just stay in that felt experience. Never mind what seems to be familiar. Never mind whether you're in or not. Commitment. You know that you are now in meditation, in some level of in meditation, and just allow yourself to go deeper by simply rejoicing in the signs. Rejoice in the signs of calm in the body. However, whatever degree, rejoice in the signs of pleasantness. This is the pleasantness that will eventually experiences until you arrive at natural bliss. And you will palpably experience it by connecting with them palpably, illness. Then you can to the more subtle versions of them in the breath, a sense of calm and pleasantness in the breath. Connect with them, rejoice. Strengthens the conviction that you are indeed in the meditative states because you are experiencing the signs. Then the same measure of conviction because of these signs in the body, in the allow of them in the mind, a sense of calm, no matter what the measure, connect, rejoice. And as you consciously make that connection, notice that momentum of going deeper and deeper and try to stay in that momentum of going deeper, ever deeper, the calm becoming calm, the pleasant becoming more pleasant. And simultaneously with these, within the mind mainly, you will notice you will notice different sensations arising, bodily sensations, energetic sensations, a sense of warmth, a sense of electricity, a sense of movement, or perhaps visuals appearing, or some sort of sounds that these are signs of clarity. These are signs of ever approaching luminosity. And these are indirect ways of making contact with the clarity and the luminosity. So by taking hold of them, they will take you closer and closer to pure clarity, to pure radiance. And as the radiance becomes more radiant, as the clarity becomes clearer, then these experiences vivid, sharper, louder, stronger. So as you notice the sharpness and the loudness, knowing that I've gone deeper, and notice the calm is deeper, the pleasantness is more pleasant, more ecstatic. And the reason for that is to bring more conviction that this is actually happening. You are fulfilling the intention to enter and abide in meditation. Now that you are witnessing yourself abiding in some measure in the meditative state, know this is a meditation state. And now we're going to stabilize and deepen it with 3 full breath. It's very good to really anchor your awareness, anchor your attention in one of the signs, whichever sign you find most attractive, most appealing, or strongest, and just stay with it. So through the nose, staying connected to that sign, breathe in gently, fully. And through the mouth, and as you release, completely release, take that attitude of complete release, and then let yourself see yourself going deeper into that sign itself, or maybe another sign may become more prominent, okay? Let go. Notice the new depth. Notice the strength of the signs. Rejoice. Staying in that new strength. Again, through the nose, gently, fully breathe in. And again. And allow the breath to return on its own and staying connected to that new strength. Again, for the third and last time, full breath, breathe in and release. We're going to do a little advanced meditation. I hope you don't mind. This is what just came up. So begin by simply letting the mind feel free. So whatever you hear, whatever comes up from within, whatever seems to come at you from your environment, just be aware and accepting and feel free. You don't have to reject anything. You don't have to hold on to anything. But just maintain awareness that you are aware. And have a sense of the mind, of awareness that the mind is free to go anywhere, everywhere, anywhere in the universe, the seen and unseen, the universe of imagination, the universe of past, present, or future, wherever the mind wants to go. Let the mind just feel free to experience limitlessness. Think of think of it in terms of totality. So whatever is appearing is part of totality. Then noticing any appearance of anything, rejoice because the mind is doing exactly what you want it to do. With all those things that are out there, stars, planets, solar systems, galaxies, all kinds of thoughts, all kinds of objects. And the mind feels a bit, that's too much. So bring the mind to just immediate surroundings. So your mind is free to go to anywhere in your immediate surroundings. It remembers the wall, the ceiling, the different furniture, the different objects, the sounds that have entered the room where you are. Anything that's in the room, the mind is free to be aware of it. And still stay free in that freedom. And be aware of the point of contact between your body and your immediate surroundings. And now let the mind be free to simply be aware of whatever is in the body, whatever is in the mind. Even if it's a memory of something outside, as long as you recognize, oh, this is a memory of, this is hearing, this is smelling, connected to your internal system. Your mind goes to your toes, it's okay. And if you wish, if you are able, be aware of what you might call your energetic system. However you can feel it. And if you can't really feel something that's like that, then be aware of the subtle things going within the body. The pulses, the warmth here and there, the circulation, the spaces, anything that's within, or anything that's energetic. Let the mind feel free to go to it. The energy behind my left ear, the energy behind under my chin. As long as it's energy, the mind is free to go there and stay with that sense of freedom. And be aware of now just the spaces in the body. The obvious space of the belly, the, the spaces between the joints, the space between tissue, bone and flesh, just any space it wants to go to. The space in the mouth, the space in the nose, the space in the ears, the space inside the bones. And now there is the awareness that is there, awareness of that space. Now go just to the awareness. So it doesn't matter, whatever you're aware of, as long as it's just immediately say, there's awareness of, and go to just the awareness itself. And all the things that appear in the field of awareness are the indirect means of allowing us to be aware of awareness. I'm aware of, therefore I am aware. And we move awareness, what's there? There's just the experience of meditation, pure clarity, pure radiance, pure joy, pure calm, pure peace. And all that, now the fundamental or the ground out of which these arise out of, just think of it as pure potential. Potential for meditative experience, for core being, potential for awareness, potential for objects of awareness, potential for universe. Just stay in that pure potential. And as you are in that pure potential, just like when you were in your body, you were saying, I am this body, I am this personality. So now you're in pure potential, I am pure potential. And let your compassion arise in this pure potential field, thinking of the different, the different unpleasant, painful, suffering experiences. So within that pure potential, let your heart go out within that pure potential to everyone. People you know, people you don't know, your friends, your family. And know that they are in some way or another, some level, some degree or another, experiencing some kind of pain, some kind of suffering. The pain of having lost someone, the pain of being forced to experience something you wished you were not experiencing. And within that pure potential, either by the power of your compassion, give those sufferings a form of dark cloud and bring them all into the very center of your being, who is pure potential, and dissolving them into pure potential. So they become pure elements, and the pure elements come to you closer and become pure energy and become to you closer. They become pure consciousness. They come to you closer. They become pure core state. And then they dissolve into potential. And from that place of pure potential, what is it that would make them happy? And from that pure potential, send forth what will make them happy, holding all of them with pure love. They have truth. They're no longer overwhelmed by delusions, no longer overwhelmed by hatred and all the things that hatred creates. They are free of greed and everything that greed creates. Now they have love, compassion. They have truth and the happiness that love, compassion, and truth creates. And they want to keep you in the space of just pure potential. So within that, think of it, you are in the space of pure potential. Whatever, however simple, however complex, whatever you want to emerge from that, you can cause it to emerge, motivated by compassion, motivated by love, motivated by this truth of interconnection. Think of the person you could be, the person that, if you were that person, a person who acts out of compassion and love, acts out of truth, who relates from that place, create that person from that potential. Again, be aware of the calm, the utter peace, the utter joy, the utter clarity and radiance, the utter collectiveness of mind, focus. Now be aware of consciousness, awareness itself. Be aware of space in the body. Be aware of energy or the subtle movements. Be aware of the body. Be aware of your body in its immediate environment. And know right here, right now, you're not the same person. Your mother is compassion. Your mother is wisdom, and your father is compassion. And you're a child of wisdom and compassion right here, right now. You emerge from pure potential to serve, to fulfill the wishes of love and compassion. Keep that in mind. Feel the meditation, and you're going to listen, ponder with that intention that Your mind may give you gifts to share. Rejoice witnessing that you're meditating, noticing the signs, and be ready to arise from the meditation with that joy. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out the mouth. And with that, deliberately reconnect with your immediate surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings, your sense of touch, the temperature, the clothing, your cushion, the different sounds, and slowly the lights, the colors, the shapes. All right. I don't know how long was that. Okay, it was long. Long enough. Okay. All right. Newborns. um, Now, before I begin, I think as a result, our sincerity for truth, at times we do feel that certain, yeah, this is it. And at times we feel uncertain. And also out of some sort of understanding of what we might term relativity, relative truth. And by that we mean that there might be something that is true for me, may not be true for you. We understand that. And because of that understanding, when someone presents us with something that just lies in the face of what we understand, what we grasp, what we understand, what we reason to be true, out of that sincerity for truth, we may find ourselves questioning whether or not perhaps what they're presenting may be true. And all that is wonderful. But to abide in a state of doubt forever is not comfortable. Doubt is good in the very beginning to initiate us to move towards truth. But we're not supposed to stay in the crossroad of doubt without ever moving one way or another. So what should we do? How do we move forward? Which way should we move? How do we arrive at truth? And when you hear the word truth, what is your felt feeling? What is your felt experience of that truth? What is your felt experience of that? And that is what we want to reconnect with. We want to re-experience that felt feeling of truth. When we go through a process that we're not fully aware of all the time, you could say we are mainly unconscious of the process of arriving at a conviction, at arriving at something that we hold to be truthful, to be truth. And then is when it motivates us, it determines how we think, it determines how we live with the world. And if it is indeed in line with how the world should be beneficial for us, it should be beneficial for others. It should be healthy, it should be wholesome. But if we are experiencing, if we're having much difficulty in being able to be with the world, then there's a problem there. So I'll give you in the Kanki Sutra, the background story is there's this very young man who's very, 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 very smart, quite a scholar, very, very adept at a particular lineage. and he comes into a conversation that adults, much seniors, are engaging with the Buddha, and because he has so much conviction in his understanding and his knowledge, every once in a while he interrupts, and the Buddha sort of admonishes him, "Oh, elders, your elders are speaking here. It's not respectful for you to keep interrupting like this." And then the elders themselves say, "Oh yeah, that's that guy. He's wow, he's very advanced. His knowledge makes him an elder. So he can interrupt. He can. You will ask questions." So so the asks a question, and the question that he asks is about. He sort of makes a statement. He makes a statement, just like take the statement that's in the email. Consider that as a statement, right? Bill Gates is how does it go? Bill Gates is either invented this situation that the globe is in, or is using it as a way to inject microchips into everyone. Okay, or that's one of them, and there are so many others around. But this is something that's in the email, so we'll talk about that. So let's say he makes that statement, and in making that statement, what's not said is this: I know this, I see this, this is true, and anything else other than this is false. That is the statement that is being made. And when we make statements without qualifying it in some form or another, I heard Bill Gates is doing this. But when you make the statement, Bill Gates is, or you probably have heard of it, the earth is flat. The idea that the earth is round is a conspiracy. It's a false, it's a false, it's a conspiracy to, I don't know for whatever reason that they say that, but there are people. I thought at first, when I first heard that, I thought it was like a bunch of people having a joke, being funny. But later on, I found out that yeah, there are people who actually believe that, who make that statement. This is true. The earth is flat. This is true. This I know. This I see, and nothing else. Nothing else is. Everything else is false. That Bill Gates is not putting microchips into people, that's false. That the earth is round is false. Okay. Now, how does one come to make, how what is it that one follows in order to arrive at making such a statement? Well, first of all, is the statement that Bill Gates is it that Bill Gates himself into you? Oh, by the way, I'm putting microchips in the vaccines. That will be one way of directly having direct information. And even that, even if Bill Gates came to you and said, "I am putting microchips," that would be enough to be, that's the truth. I know it's easy. But what you have is Bill Gates saying the truth. So so you could say there are three stages here in the sutra that is referred to as arriving at truth. Okay, one is to basically know exactly what to speak exactly what is actually there, and when you do that, you're actually honoring truth. You're actually preserving truth. You're actually respecting truth. when you simply state what is. And what is it that you should state? You should state whether I believe Bill Gates is doing this. I believe the earth is flat. That is because that is your belief. However you arrived at it, that is really the conclusion. And to state it as, I believe Bill Gates is putting microchips in vaccines, and what you're saying is, you're not saying I know it. You're saying that's what I believe, because you're stating that because as what because just what you're stating is simply your belief. Then you are honoring truth, and you're all that you are open. You're open for that to be invested, for that to be challenged, for uh, to to, uh, to be either proven true or to be proven false. When you say, this is I believe that, but you don't say I believe as a trick, you could say, like we're tricking ourselves to say I believe, when it's really, this is true. I'm saying this is true. I'm saying this is what I know to be truth. We have to not deceive ourselves also. And there are so that's the first one. The first one is to simply honor truth, and you honor truth saying, this is my belief, this is my conviction, this is what I've heard, this is what I've read in the newspaper, this is what I've heard from. And because you're telling the person, this is not something that the means of arriving at truth, which is in the body. It's not that the body told you this, okay? But rather you arrive at it through these means. I believe it. It's my belief. I heard it from whatever, from wherever, and that's what is referred to as some sort of, it is accepted, or I like it. I like the way it sounds. The idea that Bill Gates is putting chips in vaccines is, I like that. I like that. I like that to be the truth. Okay, I would like that, and because somehow it seems to help me deal with something else that perhaps I'm hiding from, perhaps I'm afraid of going into some fear. It seems to assuage some sort of fear that I have at the level. So I like it. And also, uh, and this would the last two might be difficult. Through my own reasoning, I have arrived at that through my own reasoning. And don't forget that when we are reasoning, we are using what we know against each other. There might be some things that we do not know yet, that some factor that would have helped us have a different conclusion that may not have been in place for our reasoning. Like Bill Gates is taking certain facts. Bill Gates is very, 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 very rich. Because he's very rich, this is an opportunity for him to be richer. So therefore, that's true. So that's your reasoning. Okay, and it seems like it's a reasoning for you. So that's also to say that through my own reason, through my own belief, through my own liking, I've heard it. And also, last one is I have considered different views, but really not different views sort of different from each other, but rather views that corroborate you. Like someone else say, "Oh yeah, Bill Gates lives in a big house. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars. He needs money so he can stay in the house. So that's a nice way for him to make a lot of money. Therefore, he's putting microchips in it." Okay, so that's their own reasoning. Okay? And then because now they're presenting you with a view that seems to corroborate yours, and you accept it. Okay, so these are different ways that we seem to arrive at truth. We seem to reason. We consider different views. we look at our experience, and then we respect a particular source of information, and we also uh, have a particular, just a particular liking for something truth. Okay, so if we make the statement but saying I believe, my own reasoning, I heard, I saw, and then in a sense that is if you are open, we are in a sense respecting truth. We are respecting truth, and that is not what is referred to as having arrived, but rather we are respecting truth. We are leaving it open. We're not making a statement that might be true. Okay, so the second, so when we are open like this, understanding that, like in that same vein, someone comes to you and you don't want to outrightly say you're wrong. You are open to investigate what they're saying, to ponder, to listen to the evidence, to listen to the okay, my source. You're willing to investigate that source of information. You're willing to investigate their process of reasoning. You're to investigate in your own, against your own, those views that they're presenting. You don't outright say they're wrong, but you could, from the very beginning, say, I don't like that, I just, and that's not accepting it. Or that's not what I believe, and that's why I'm not accepting it. But you are also honoring truth by saying that the reason that I'm not accepting it is because I'm not accepting it because I don't like it. Because I'm not accepting it because I don't trust the source that you're saying is your source of information. Because my experience, I've had experiences where that source has given false information. Okay. Okay. So that's honoring truth. Now, how do we get from just honoring, from uh, what is referred to some preserving the integrity of truth, to actually arriving at truth itself? Now, that's a process. And then this is something that we all know. This is something that we all feel in the bones, I would say. And what is it that we all feel in our bones? That yes, truth is simple, but because we have complicated our lives so much, we have to go through complications. Basically, we have to work to arrive at truth. Just because such and such station, such and such a radio station said it's truth, I don't just simply say, yeah, it's the truth, because why? Because I on the radio. It's true because I read it on Facebook. It's true because I read the Twitter thing. We know we do not fully, we're not accepting just like that. Uh, we first thing we ask, what is the source of that? Where is that coming from? And why are we asking what is the source of that? Because whether or not the source is reliable or not. And how do we know whether something is the source of information is reliable or not? And it's basically, can you know the intention of the person who said that? Why did they say that? That person has a grudge against Bill Gates. That person, the original person who said that, wants is in competition with Bill Gates, and he wants to take over Bill Gates' market. That person, that could be greedy. That person could be, I don't know, hates Bill Gates because Bill Gates stole his girlfriend, and when they were in high school, been holding that grudge ever since. And now Bill Gates is a popular figure, and they just say anything about something about someone popular, then I mean, it's almost as if there's an innocent part of us that say, people don't lie. Why would people lie? If they say Bill Gates did that, then why would they say such a big lie like that? They must be telling some kind of truth. So there's this kind of innocence of wanting to agree with what they're saying, because we just don't want to put the big blame on such a person, right? what we need to do is we need to work. If we really, if we want to just stay at the level, oh, so and so said, and just leave it like that, unfortunately, people don't remain at the level of so and so, and they continue with their own. Well, I say this. A lot of time, people actually take so and so to action because they believe it to be that's the truth. I know it, and nothing else is nothing. Not everything else is false, and they act from that. Okay, and that's where we want to guard against, because if we unconsciously accept things without challenging them, at some unconscious level, we are processing them to be whether they're truth or not. Okay, at some unconscious level, they are being processed. If we don't consciously engage them, that is, the process is taking place whether or not you want to consciously participate. The thing is, once information gets in, immediately there's a process at arriving at conviction, because it is the conviction is the power source that drives experiences. Everything, when you find yourself having energy to do something or lacking energy from being able to do something, what's allowing that energy to go into manifestation or into your life is conviction. And convictions are not always conscious. And if you've had any degree of any period in therapy, you will know that to be the truth. There are a lot of things that we are convinced of as being true that we're not consciously aware of. And we know some of these, to some degree, we know about these convictions that are driving us. I can't do this because that is a conviction we find not able to do. And no matter how beautiful you may be to everybody else, if you're convinced that I'm the worst looking person on the planet, no matter how many times you're praised, you believe I cannot be loved. If that is your conviction because of whatever experience you may have had, if you believe that no matter who's no matter who's lavishing you with love, you will somehow find a way of getting rid of that, because the conviction is I am not supposed to be loved. I am not an object to be loved. So convictions are at the root of every experience. And the process of arriving at conviction is what a mind does, is what a being does. So when we do not consciously participate in this process at arriving at conviction, we just allow it. We basically allow our habits to do that for us. We allow our conditioning to do that for us, especially our unconscious conditioning to do that for us. So it takes work. Hear, read from Facebook, when you hear from such and such that something is being directly said to you, then we have to do the work.
Phuntsok, I'm going to interrupt you just for a quick second because your mic is cutting out just enough to be annoying. So maybe if you jiggle the cord or something, it'll help it.
Okay. How's this?
It's solid right now. Yeah.
Solid right now? Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Did you miss it? I just give the true nature of reality.
No, we've just been filling in our own conspiracy every gap.
Okay. All right. Thanks for letting me know that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the first level is respecting truth, honoring truth, but it's not actually arriving at truth. And how do we arrive at truth? It takes work. What kind of work does it take? Like the source of the information, for example. How can we arrive at a place where we trust the source of information? And I mentioned, what is the intention of the source of giving out the information? What is their intention? Are they driven through your own felt experience with that source? Do you feel that they might be like for example, they just think that this is a good way to make money. It doesn't really matter if it's true or not. Just this is a nice way to make money. Just to say these things, you make money, and that's their reason for it. So that you say the intention, the motivation is greed, or that guy who Bill Gates stole his girlfriend, and now he's hating Bill Gates because of that. That's not true. Okay. Don't go out there and say there's a guy who hates Bill Gates who's spreading false humor. Okay. You could say Phuntsok said that we're honoring truth, but don't you say that's the truth. Okay. Okay. So the person is motivated by some kind of hatred, some kind of need for vengeance. Okay. That's the main reason for speaking what they said. Okay. Or the person is deluded. They have some they were not well trained in the art of reasoning. So they say, well, Bill Gates is rich and he wants more money, so he must have done it. Some people, for them, that's good reasoning, okay, even though it doesn't make sense to you. So through either because they're deluded, either because they have some sort of vengeance, or they have some sort of greed, some sort of selfish motivation, then they give that. So in some way, can you sense that the source of the information, the source of the knowledge that you are spreading, that you are holding, that you're processing, is it reliable? And what makes it reliable? Rely on, can you sense their intention? Sometimes, yes, of course, you cannot really sense someone's intention, but you can sort of the way they act, the way they behave, does it coincide with the way they speak, with the way what they do they practice what they preach, that kind of thing. Okay, do they say one thing and then completely when it comes for them to actually doing it, they don't do it, they do something else? Do they themselves have conviction in what they're saying? I remembered what's his name? One of those anchor persons was taken to court, and the argument that the lawyer used to dismiss the case was, everybody knows no one is supposed to believe what he says. That was the the argument of the lawyer for the guy that he was defending. No one is supposed to believe. Who in their right mind is supposed to believe? No one is supposed to believe that. So that means he's saying it knowing that it's not true, but speaking it in such a way as though it is true. And then people, unfortunately, they take that, they trust this person. Okay. So how reliable is the source? And once you find that the source is reliable, then you could say, I don't think I can trust that. Not that it is not true, but I don't think I can trust it because of the source of that information. You have to go through some other kinds of things to arrive at whether or not this is true or not. But if the source of the information you can rely is reliable, then because the source of the information is reliable, then you can have a sense of conviction, a sense of faith in the source of the information. So that's the thing that comes, right? So first examine the source to arrive at whether or not you should have faith in the source or not. And once you arrive at faith in the source, it doesn't stop there. And that could be a teacher that you heard about. Oh, that teacher is wonderful. He will take you to Nirvana 124. Okay. Then you examine the teacher. Is this according to your felt need, your felt wish for going to that person? Does that person seem to address that? Does that person seem to be in line with that? Then when you directly witness that, then you can have a measure of trust. in that person. You can have a measure of trust in that source of information. And once you have a measure of trust, a measure of faith, then comes everything else. Then you will revisit this person a lot. Out of trusting them, you can visit that person. You will listen to that person more and more, listen to that person more and more. And what they are saying, and this is something that is very interesting. We will not even be aware of it. Just because you're in the presence of someone, because your mind is fighting with, is this person trustworthy or not? Is this person not trustworthy or not? Is this person not trustworthy or not? Whatever they may be saying, you're probably hearing it halfway because your mind is engaged in something else. Your mind is not free to fully listen to the person. Your mind not fully open to listen to what they're saying. Okay. So as you are, yes, you need to do, is this person trustworthy or not? You have to do that. And once you arrive at, yes, this person is trustworthy, sort of like you open a pathway for the message that the person is saying to come through. Then you're able to hear what the person is saying. You're able to read the information without the filtering of the mind struggling whether this is trustworthy or not. Okay, now you're able to read it. You're able to process it. Okay. Now, after you arrive at, so you have the conviction, you have the faith in the person, you visit the person, and because of constantly visiting the person, constantly making contact with the person, hearing the person, then you really start to hear what the person is saying. And this is something that happens in relationships, right? You're in a relationship with someone, and your own story, your own narrative, your own stories, or what we are hearing is what is saying. And you can't really hear what the person is saying, right? And you may catch something here and there, and then we connect them together, and in the wrong way, we end up with not hearing what the person really said. So to really hear what someone said, we have to be open to what they're saying. And it's easier to be open to someone when you trust what they're saying. Okay. So after you have faith in what they're saying, and also to understand that just because you can have faith in someone, or you can have faith in something, and the thing that you have faith in is false. That's possible. And you would also not have faith in something that is factual. Let's say, for example, just for the sake of tonight, let's say it's not true that microchips are being inserted in the vaccine. That's just for the sake of tonight. Say that's not true. Okay. Now, I could, for the person who believes the opposite, doesn't have faith in that, right? So not having faith, someone could have faith in something that is not true, and someone could not have faith in something that is true. Okay. So those are the possibilities, and these are just still at the level of honoring truth. Okay, honoring truth. When it's just faith there, just faith. And when you it's something that you could say you've done extensive reading. You've been with this person a lot, so you sort of really sense their intentions. You have a sense of their intention because you visit them a lot. At first, you may not be able to arrive at a conclusion. It's like, I don't have enough examples with this person, with this source, to know that whether what they're saying is true or not. So you gather examples. That's what it means to visit it, to visit the person a lot, to gather more examples. What more examples? And then that when you have more examples that sort of say like trustworthy, then that opens you up to really listen to what they're saying. When you really listen to what they're saying, then after listening to what they're saying, then you can really now you can examine what they're saying without prejudice. Examine without prejudice. That is taking what is said at face value. Do we have the technology right now to actually have a microchip so small that you can have billions of them in a syringe, and then for them to actually go through the eye of a needle. Basically to be as smaller than a drop of water. Do we actually have that technology now? If you are someone who actually is working in technology and you've created that, then you might say that's a possibility. But from what you've directly experienced, you know that is not a possibility, then you can throw that out. Yeah, maybe Bill Gates has the evil intention of controlling the vaccine world, but it's definitely not going to be with a microchip in a vaccine, because we do not have that technology right now. Then you can throw that out. That's your reasoning, right? This is reasoning, taking the thing at face value rather than bringing our own stories into it to make the reasoning. Okay. And after reasoning, then we develop an openness. And it's an openness to other possible conclusions. So a different kind of openness. There's an openness to hear the person, and now there's an openness to hear other possible conclusions, other possible realities, other possibilities of truth. We are open to that, and we are looking at them with that same openness, with that same clarity of being able to analyze, be able to ponder, be able to investigate. And upon doing that, then we begin to feel that we're about to touch truth. Truth, we begin to have this sense that we are about to trust truth. Either the truth is, yes, Bill Gates is putting microchips in the vaccines, or it is absolutely false that that's possible. Okay, we are about to arrive at truth. Okay, and this will create within us a passion, a natural passion, because all this time, what we've been doing, we've been flirting, so to speak, with truth. And we developed an admiration for truth. We develop an aspiration to really get to the bottom of the truth. And we will find this desire will give us the energy to exert ourselves so that eventually we will arrive at truth. And because of this openness, exertion, actually working with an open mind, with a clear, with unstained capacity to reason, then we eventually arrive. It is with that we are able to discover truth. Okay, we're able to arrive at truth. So truth takes work. If we're not willing to put the work into it, we will never arrive at truth. And if we find ourselves not having the energy to put the work, then we have to simply best to stay at the level of honoring truth. This is what I believe. I cannot say for certain I know this. I cannot say for certain this is true. Okay. And by continuously doing this, so going through this process of strengthening your conviction, strengthening your openness, continuing to find examples, and then eventually you will arrive at that truth that the body will ring. Then you will feel the truth in your body. When your body connects with the truth, then that's when you know you have found truth. Okay. Now, all this is not to say that there isn't the valid experience where something is true for you, but not for me. That is also a valid thing. And we arrive at this truth. We discover this truth by the process of discovery. Yes, this is true for you. Yes, this is true for me. Yes, what is true, this which is true for you is not true for me. It's not just simply whimsically saying, well, everything is relative anyway. You have your own truth, I have my own truth, and you stay there. And somehow that makes us feel as if we are somehow speaking some very profound thing by saying you have your truth, I have my truth. Because when it comes to this arena of shared experiences, does the vaccine have microchips in them? Do the vaccines have microchips in them? And or do they not have microchips in them? So this is not something that can be, well, that's true for you, but it's not true for me. In terms of actually be awakened to the truth, actually arriving at truth. That is really a true shared experience. Yes, there are such things, shared experiences. Yes, there are such things as unshared experiences. But because of the truth, you could say, of unshared experiences, like I like this, you don't like that, that is an unshared experience. And that is something that we can agree with. Yeah, that is a kind of thing where your truth is not my truth is not your truth. But this doesn't go universally towards every single thing whatsoever. Like, is the earth flat or is the earth round? Is the earth flat surrounded by mountains of ice, like in the, what's that thing called? That movie? Game of Thrones. Have you seen that? I don't know if you've seen it. Not everybody has seen it. If you haven't seen it, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, anyway, there's supposed to be this big, tall wall of ice, right? So some people actually believe that at the edge of this flat earth, there's this very tall, very, very unsurmountable tall of ice. And there's no way for us to go beyond that, to discover what's beyond it, to prove that it's round or not. Okay. Now, to when a truth cannot be directly verified through our senses, then we have to rely on our reasoning. But our reasoning has to be sound. It has to be open. It mustn't be a biased reasoning. It has to be open reasoning. And the way for it to be open, to be an open reasoning, is we must truly want to know the truth. We must sincerely want to know the truth. And that is something that I think, I myself, I've experienced this, where I've recognized that I didn't really want to know the truth. I just wanted something to be true. And I was looking for ways to convince myself that it was true. And in doing that, I blinded myself from seeing certain things that would tell me otherwise. When our desire for the truth is not sincere, then we simply blind ourselves from seeing what is evident. We prevent ourselves, we basically not allow ourselves to experience the full spectrum of reality. We narrow our experience of reality. And in narrowing our experience of reality, of course, we have narrow experiences, and we will suffer with narrow experiences of reality because we are refusing to see what are the other things, other connections that we have that are contributing to our experiences. And because we cannot see them, we will not allow ourselves to see them, then we will never know what are these things in the psychological way of speaking. We don't know what are these triggers that makes us behave the way we find ourselves incapable of stopping ourselves from behaving. We will not be able to know and be able to recognize what are those things that are stopping us from behaving certain ways that we want to behave. We want to behave in certain ways, but there are these forces within us that are stopping us, holding us back. If we're not open to all the dimensions of what is present, then we are basically locking ourselves into our whatever pain that we're already experiencing. Okay. I think I've covered everything on this. There's one last thing I want to say about what makes an experience valid, what makes an experience more in line with truth. And it's very, very, very simple. And that is the thing to help us to have an open sort of reasoning, an unbiased reasoning, an untainted reasoning. Okay. The thing that is being said, the thing that is even being perceived, when you look at it, does it shy from being further investigated? Does it shy away from being further investigated? Okay, just look like an example. I'm not going to use the example of Bill Gates in this one. This one I'm using an example of a mirage. Okay, it looks like water. Is it water? What are the qualities of water? And if this thing has the qualities of water, it fulfills them, then it is water. But if it doesn't fulfill the qualities of water, even though it looks like water, it is not water. Okay? That is investigating what the thing is saying, investigate it to see if that's what it actually is. It says, I am water. And you know what water is. You know what are the qualities of water, what water is capable of doing. Is that thing doing those things? Does it have those qualities other than just appearing like water? Okay. And the other thing is, are all your senses corroborating to say, oh yeah, that sounds like water. That smells like water. Yes, water has a scent. Don't give me that thing, okay? Water has a scent, especially when it's not when it's stinky and from New Jersey. Sorry, New Jersey. But clean water has this clean scent. Okay, well, no matter where you're getting your water from, it has a scent, whether it's from New Jersey or not. Okay. All right. So in all the ways that your senses engage it, that they've experienced this is water, are they all corroborating? And like, for example, and the other corroboration could be from someone else, someone that you trust. Someone you trust tells you, no, that's not what I'm seeing. And that should at least give us pause for doubt. Okay. And other corroborating valid corroborators could be just you. Like, what does it feel like water? The way water is supposed to feel. Okay, that will tell you whether it's water or not. But only your eyes is telling you that it's water, but all your senses are telling you it's not water. Okay. So in that same way, there's the appearance of the thing and the elements that are in it, the elements that are present, the elements that are being presented, do they actually work together? As far as your examples are concerned, like with the example with Bill Gates, for example, are we at the level where we make microscopic microchips? Yes, they are microchips, but are they really small enough to fit inside, to go through the eye of a needle? Do we have that technology yet? So in the elements being presented, you say, well, there's something wrong, there's something out of place in what you're presenting. So I cannot take the thing as I cannot take the wholeness of it. Okay. And corroborations from other corroborations. Hey, my cousin got the vaccine, and he's is behaving normal. Bill Gates and, well, other corroborating things. Okay. So that's from the personal thing at arriving at truth. And the thing with truth in Buddhism is that this is the very last thing I'm going to be saying. Yeah, this is the very last thing I'm going to be saying. The why you are here is for truth. Why you are a spiritual person is because you honor truth. And keep reminding yourself of that. You honor truth. And when you're on a journey, when you've been presented with something, know exactly at what level are you accepting this. And be frank and honest about, I'm accepting it at the level of belief. I'm accepting it at the level of I'm liking it. I'm accepting it at the level of my reasoning. It's not something that I know to be the truth yet. Okay. And do the work that is necessary to really arrive, really discover the truth, because that's what we are seeking. And know that whether we consciously engage in this process or not, it is taking place. Because we will not act without a conviction. And you can say every single belief that we have, every single action that we find ourselves able to do or unable to do, all that is because of conviction. Okay. And our journey is really about being honest with, these are the layers of convictions that I have, allowing ourselves to actually meet them and do the work of knowing whether it is true or not. At first, don't just dismiss it because it's unpleasant, but really do the work to see if it is true. Am I really unlovable? Am I somebody who cannot be loved? Do you have examples that defy that? Haven't you heard people who told you, I love you? And if even if you are incapable of being loved, or you're not able of loving, and if you love, will you not be loved back? If you love sincerely, will you not be loved back? Okay. Okay. And if we do not really come to know these unconscious convictions, we will never be able to arrive at the real truth of our being. Okay? And that is the journey. The journey is to eventually arrive at the real truth of our being. That's what we are looking for. And the reason that we stop along the way is perhaps the truth is so important to us that we are carrying a conviction that it is impossible to arrive at it. So we stop ourselves. And we stop ourselves because we don't want to be so devastatingly disappointed. That's the reason we don't make ourselves look for truth. We don't want to be devastatingly disappointed at not being able to find it. So we manufacture truths, and we hold on to them. And because they're not real truth, they're manufactured, of course, our world has to collapse. It has to collapse because what we're looking for is truth from the depth of our being. And the only thing that will satisfy that thirst, that hunger, is to arrive at it, is to awaken to it, is to realize it, to discover it. Okay. You could say a mind is a truth seeker. Any mind is a truth seeker. And it's so desperate for truth that it is willing to create truths just to have a sense of, I think I have it. It will create it. Okay. And when we encounter these created truths, that is a truth. And when we are honest with that, we are realigning ourselves with truth. We are honoring it. Okay. There's no being on the planet in existence who is by nature unlovable. And to hold that at the level of conviction to make you act, that is a disservice to truth. Okay. All right. Mr. Nizam, I hope I didn't go too much into the juicy stuff about conspiracies. But I hope this touched it to some degree.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Okay.
I guess I could ask the first question, maybe even.
Yes.
Just that the way you're talking about truth, it feels like it's like a needle in a haystack. Like given our understanding of our biology, psychobiology, how we're orientated toward filtering reality through our personhood or negative bias, things like this. I think what you're saying about truth taking work really resonates and could be like a lifetime of work, and that we actually hold very few real truths, that they're just like these nuggets that appear once in a while. Does that feel true, or am I exaggerating that sort of?
No, what you might call, I mean, what you might call the absolute truth kind of truth is already here, all pervasive, right? And it is because this truth is all pervasive and in itself evident, not that it is evident that we see it, that we notice it, but it is something that is in nature can be evident, right? But because we have put so many layers on top of it, calling those things truth, then it becomes obscure. But it's not that it is hiding itself, but rather we have put so many veils between us and that we're not able to see it. But as we are honest with the veil, say, this is what this is. Like, for example, this is just what I believe. It's not truth yet, because it's not something that I'm feeling in my body, in my bones. And then by seeing this, we are in a way seeing truth, right? And it's the same way where, practicing meditation is not suddenly entering into some blissful state, and only when you're in some blissful state, having some pleasant experience, then it's meditation. But when you are honest with what is appearing, you're saying, this is unpleasant. And that's what is actually taking place. That's aligning yourself with truth. And that is meditating, because you're aware of what is actually taking place. Right now, it's an unpleasant experience. So in our journey for truth, when we allow ourselves to just be with what is appearing to us, rather than making an ultimate conclusion, this is the truth, the absolute truth, but rather saying, I am angry and I have no idea why. That's the truth. And by being honest with that honesty itself, it is honoring truth and allowing for truth for more, you could say, more deeper truth to be perceived, to be experienced. Because I'm saying I'm angry, I don't know why I'm angry. And that is the truth of my experience. By acknowledging that, rather than create a reason as to why you're angry, by acknowledging that, then that process itself will allow you to say, oh, now I see the connection. Because I'm seeing it for what it is, now I can see what's connected to it. And that becomes another deeper layer of truth. Okay. And fear, for example, could be the driving force of so many different things. And it's not just one fear, it's fear with so many different layers. And we will not allow to see the truth of those layers if we don't allow first ourselves to see, the reason I'm yelling at you is because I'm afraid of losing you. If you're not acknowledging that, then you're going to lose the person anyway, and then you have no idea why you lose people. Okay. I'm afraid of losing you. So since that is what is my true concern, and my conditioning and my filtering is telling me, yell so you can so you'll not lose this person, that's the conviction, right? That's the conviction. I'm going to lose this person. And the conditioning, yell, because remember, that's what we did when we were babies, when we were little, when we were very young, not fully understanding the world. We thought our parents maybe your parents wasn't loving you, so you wanted to be loved so much, but the only thing that you were experiencing was the pain of not being loved. So the reality at the time was yelling, I'm in pain. But you couldn't say it's because I'm not feeling your love. All you could say at that point was, I am in pain. But when you now just allowing yourself to be aware of that pain, you can say, that pain is because I'm afraid of not being loved. I'm afraid of losing the one I love. That's why I am yelling, because that's what I accustom myself to. That's how I accustom myself to react when I'm in that situation. Okay. Because when you were yelling, your parents came rushing towards you. Oh, okay, I have to yell now so I can get their love. Okay. And we will not be able to be aware of these layers if we do not just be honest with what is actually happening at the moment. I'm yelling and I don't know why, because that's what's happening right now. And by being honest with that, then the layer of, and it could be like all of a sudden a flash of a memory of of feeling your parent having abandoned you and you're yelling. Then it becomes obvious to you, that's what it is. And it's something that you feel in your bones. It's not because you had the vision, but rather the vision accompanying a feeling that you feel in your bone that this is the truth. And this is just one layer. And eventually you arrive at, it's because I have no self. It's because I'm clinging to a self. Okay. But you want to arrive at that in a very visceral way. Otherwise, it will be permanently intellectual. Your entire spiritual journey will be just in the realm of, intellect, abstract, never felt experience. And eventually you'll, if you don't drop it, you will become discouraged and or just pretend. Okay. We are desperately wanting truth. Let's know that. We are always desperately wanting truth. Even the person who's believing in the conspiracy theories, what we are calling conspiracy theories, they're adopting that because they are at a level convinced, I have found truth. It's not that, oh, here's a nice false thing to believe so I can decorate my mind with. It's, I have found truth. It's just that they didn't go through the full process of discovery. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll do, if no one has a question. Oh, yes.
Yes. I love also what you said at the beginning, that it's great that the Isan brought this topic, because there is something that is been bothering me all this week, because I saw on Netflix talking about the truth and what you believe. Is this documentary about Scientology? And I mean, whatever it is kind of a brain wash of people. And I was wondering that it is looking for the truth is not inside. I mean, they just live in a very strange world that they kind of created, saying that, I don't know, that's the guy who runs the group is going to come back. That's why they are buying houses, and you cannot see your family, and basic things that white people don't question themselves about the truth. I mean, and they accept all these beliefs like nothing. It was just striking me like, why can that brainwash happen? Is not the natural instinct for people to look for the truth and question if you are not happy? I mean, if you feel that something is just not feeling well. So it just kind of, I mean, I don't know, it has to be with the topic or it has another topic, but it's just bothering me.
Well, have compassion for them. I think no, they are convinced that they have found truth. And really finding what is true is sometimes is not always pleasant. Not always pleasant in the sense of sometimes you do encounter truths that are unpleasant to encounter. Unpleasant in the sense of you had this as a belief of truth, and then you discover that this is not true at all. And it was something that meant a lot to you to believe for it to be truth. Okay. You had a lot invested in it. And sometimes it's just not pleasant. And people naturally don't want to deliberately go into unpleasant experiences. And it seems to be safe to just be, if a system is just presented to you where you don't have to do the work of investigating, it's easier to accept it that way. And the thing is, you are presented with something that you like, and it seems to be enriching your life. It seems to be enriching your life. And you don't want the experience of your life being enriched, being destroyed. If I discover that this thing is not true, then my life being enriched and I'm experiencing is going to be destroyed. Even though your life wasn't really being enriched, but you can believe that it is. And you don't want to have that encounter, that devastating encounter of discovering that I did not find truth when I thought I found truth. That is a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
And
so you are
it's a
saying,
spiritually traumatic experience when you first encounter absolute truth, because you've discovered something that really undermines everything that you thought was truth, and you feel groundless.
so people believe rather be wrong instead of questioning where they are. I mean, they rather.
It's not that they'd rather be wrong, because they're not thinking I am wrong.
Or not look for the truth deeper, because it's more painful than to lose what they already believe on and lose that.
Yeah. The prospect of losing what they feel is meaningful to them is more painful. But the only way to come out of that is, remember, you got there because you were in search of truth.
Yes.
Have you found the truth that you were really looking for from the very beginning? That's the way to be able to shake oneself out of that, to be able to go to the pain of knowing, I'm going to lose this comfort that I have here. But it is not the truth that I was really looking for. You have to, one has to come to that realization. Remember, one of the qualities of truth is that it wants you to investigate it. It wants you to make sure that this is what you were looking for. If what you have found doesn't allow space for that, then you have to immediately say, well, this is not honoring my truth, my search for truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it comes to my mind the sentence from the Bible that says, "The truth will set you free."
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
to have that feeling.
Yeah. It's very difficult because we've made it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason that is so difficult is because the real process is so easy. Just be with what is. It may be unpleasant in the beginning, but all these things are impermanent. They will eventually go away. The eternal peace and joy and that we have a deep conviction in encountering, yes, we will encounter that. Separation from truth is painful. That is, separation from ultimate truth is painful. And separation from relative truths is also painful. So it means when you're in between those two, it's always going to be painful. Okay.
Yes, I see my life, for instance, when I think that I want to move to another moment or next step, it's always looking the truth, right? It's because, okay, I'm not happy here, this job is not fulfilling me, maybe I need to look for another job, or that continuous questioning about where I'm happy, what is the truth, is like makes life moving. That's why I am shocked that people can be in a place where you cannot question anything. That kind of, I mean, it's just really, really concerns me.
Yeah.
Or maybe I need to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Understand the other truth as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, really, we've gone beyond time. So, well, you can ask the other of you have questions, you can ask me those questions personally. You know my contact information, okay? If they're burning questions. All right, so let's do a quick closing meditation. The same meditation we've been doing for a while. Have the intention to meditate, to enter a meditation state. Begin to reconnect with that through tasting it in the body, in the breath, in the mind. Stabilize with a deep breath. Let go into it, let go into it, let go into it, let go. Notice the signs of being there, rejoice. See us in your own space, make in a circle. And keep saying us and keep seeing us as a unit. Until that us appears in the very center of our circle as a bright, shining presence. Keep feeling us, us. You said there's a instant moment of dissolving where we are indeed, there's a felt sense of us, our interconnection. Keep feeling that. And as see a light coming from our hearts to the center of this shining presence. We are empowering it. It is empowering us. Becoming more and more strongly aware of our interconnection. And it begins to grow until we all dissolve into it. Until our entire neighborhood dissolves into it. Continues to grow until the entire earth is dissolved into it. And see now, everything is us. With the same instinct of the right hand going to the aid of the left hand, we feel that instinct, that willingness, that readiness for the sky, for the mountains, for the trees, for the rivers and the oceans, for the birds, for our neighbor, our neighbors, anyone who comes to your mind, you feel us and the readiness that your right hand has for your left. And if you wish, you can extend that until all existence is in that shining presence, us. The thread of compassion moves through you, connects you to everyone, ready to go to assist, to relieve suffering. The fabric of love makes you ready to bring happiness and contentment. And it begins to shrink again, but wherever it shrinks away from, it leaves like a residue of that, of its brilliance, of its light, leaves a residue of that usness, until again it is a glowing presence in our circle. And into each one of us, lights from that glowing presence enters, and we feel, as we take care of our own selves, individual self, we take care of all of us. And when we take care of all of us, we take care of our individual self. Get ready to come out of the meditation. Dedicate tonight's session. Gyewa di kyo kun sunam yeshe tsozok shin sunam yeshe lechon we damba gunye topar sho. Make your own dedication. And with that, make the intention to arise from the meditation. Take a nice deep breath, feel it, hear it, in through the nose, out the mouth, and deliberately, consciously reconnect with your immediate surroundings through your sense of touch, through your sense of hearing, and through your sense of sight. All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Phuntsok.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening and the rest of the week. Yeah. Thank you, Nizam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Phuntsok.
Thank you.
All right.